At the start of the year, our main aim was just to protect our Division 1 status, and we set out with that objective last September, and anything else that came after that we looked on as a bonus. We're now in the semi-final game against Kilkenny, and we'll take that tomorrow. We'll see how that goes, and we're hoping that, you know, we'll get through to our first final in 50 years, as you said.
Obviously, now that you're that close to it, an awful lot of Dublin supporters are going to Semple Stadium tomorrow, believing that this is the breakthrough for Dublin hurling.
Well, we're hoping that it is. We've been on the fringe for a number of years, and we've just been short of that final breakthrough. And we've trained, you know, as hard as any other county coming up to this, and we're hoping that tomorrow will be our day.
Well, I'm sure, John, that you'll be as anxious to study Kilkenny's present form as closely as possible. Now, our cameras caught them in action in the league back in February. That day they were in action against Cork. That's another one of tomorrow's semi-finalists, also at Semple Stadium.
Here towards the corner forward, and that's McPhelan, in fact, who puts it over the bar. McPhelan.
Yes, Cork and Kilkenny sharing the spoils in the league some weeks back. Both, of course, qualified for the knockout stages of the competition. Well, they could be meeting each other in the final, although I'm sure our studio guest, John Toomey of Dublin, will be hoping to have something to say about that. Mind you, John, Kilkenny never easily beaten.
Well, when it gets to a knockout stage, Kilkenny are always very hard to beat. Some people say that they're supposed to be down at the moment, but when they're down is when they're most difficult to beat.
Mind you, it's an interesting aspect of the league as well this year that you could be meeting Kilkenny in the Leinster final later in the summer. Now, I know that's a long way off, but obviously Dublin thoughts would be turning to the championship now. Well,
after tomorrow, or after the league final, we'll be thinking about the championship, and we have a semi-final game against the winners of Laois and Wexford, so I'm sure they'd have something to say about a Leinster final appearance against Offaly for us, or against Kilkenny for us.
It's a new thing, John, obviously, for Dublin to be in a new situation where people are thinking of Dublin in terms of the championship, which would not have been the case a couple of years ago even. What's been the difference in the last few years in Dublin hurling?
Well, basically it's the same sort of group of players that are here at the moment, and they've just kept at it, and they've just worked hard over the last number of years. Each player has worked at different aspects of the game, and now it just seems to be gelling together at the moment. There's a good spirit among the players, and it's just basically down to hard work.
Has Lar Foley had much of an influence in that situation?
Well, he's got us together, and he's orchestrated all this hard work that we've done. So you'd have to give him credit for that.
It is interesting over the past 10 years, I suppose, in hurling. All of the new counties, if we'll call them such, have come through, like Galway, like Offaly, and in more recent times Antrim, and now it looks like Dublin might well be ready to join that group. Do you think that Dublin have the ability to be in the top flight of hurling?
Well, I've always believed that Dublin have had that ability. For as long as I'm around, they have been knocking on the door, and there's been a break of a ball this way or that way have been the difference between most teams, and hopefully now we'll get that break tomorrow.
Well, an old league final win would help, John, wouldn't it?
Well, go a long way towards helping.
Yeah. OK, John Toomey, thank you very much for joining us. Now, Cork are the odd team out in this year's semi.